It's story time.
Hello and welcome to the Storytime Podcast, and this week I have with me Graham Day, and he is here this week to talk to us. He's going to tell us his story about epilepsy.
Yeah.
So first of all, tell people where to find you on the internet, please, Graham.
You can find me on sconon.com. You can find me at Twitter at Graham Geek Era, and I'm at Game Air on Twitter as well. I review games and I review films and that, so that's pretty much where you can find me.
Do you want to just spell Game Air quickly for people on SoundCloud?
Gameior. So it's like game. Yeah,
it's like you put the two words
it's
together.
pretty much the guy who created Sconon was like, here's an Irish version.
Yeah. And I will put all the links in the description and the show notes on SoundCloud and in the description on YouTube. So do you want to tell me about... So you have epilepsy?
Yes, grand mal epilepsy.
Yeah, and you mentioned something that it's because of video games. I really want to know what you meant by that.
That's kind of how it started.
Okay.
Basically, the first time I had a seizure was I was playing Pixar's A Bug's Life, if you remember that, on the PlayStation 2 or 1, I think. And so I think I have maybe a lawsuit maybe for Pixar. They've got enough money now. And it was in the dark. It's a very bright game, you know, and I just had a seizure there and then. And
what age are you at this point?
11.
Okay.
I was 11, and it's the first time it ever happened to me. My parents didn't know anything about it. There's no history in the family.
Okay.
And so I was sent to the hospital. I was told... basically, if he has another seizure in the next year, he could be epileptic. He's not epileptic now, and like he's okay now. I bit my tongue, bit the inside of my mouth, and freaked the parents out. My mom was out shopping, if I remember at the time, so it was just my dad, and so that happened, and almost 3 years passed, no seizures. And so they're like, oh, grand, then he's perfectly fine. There's nothing going to happen. And then I think first or second year of secondary school, I was 13, I took another seizure. And they diagnosed me and I had epilepsy. And from there on out, I've been taking tablets. I've gained and lost weight. And it's just kind of been a roller coaster. Like, I've learned that I can't drive. Because, as you know, men have double the amount that women would have to pay because we're more at risk because lads can be
really, because I thought they brought in that gender equality legislation that said you couldn't charge men more, and then all the women's insurance just went up because of it. Really annoyed about it at the time.
Because at the time that's what they said. It was like,
a couple of years ago, you were double.
Because my thing is it's 3 times that. It's basically on top of the fact that men used to, because I didn't know that, because obviously I'm nowhere in the know about driving now.
Pretty much women just came up to meet them, so it's still like
I mean, either way women are kind of put out. It's like either men go down or women go up.
Yeah, so they didn't go down, so we went up. So I'd be paying about €800 a year, and I'm 10 years no claims bonus, so I'd say your insurance would be insane.
Yeah, about $2,400 at least. I have no idea, because I've stayed away from driving now. I don't know how to drive, and that's really funny because we did this thing when I was with the site Geek Ireland. We went on this Mondeo track. I had no idea how to drive, so I had to learn there and then. And to be fair, people were saying, you're not bad, you're pretty fast. Like, oh great, I've got instincts I'm never going to use.
Yeah. So is that because there's a risk of you having a seizure behind the wheel?
Yep.
Right.
And it can happen because it has happened to me in so many dangerous places. But I've never really injured myself.
Where have you had a seizure in a dangerous place?
Well, I work in a dangerous place. I'm a glassblower.
Jesus.
So basically there's glass all around me, there's fire, there's burners, there's really big heavy machinery that if you hit into it, you knock into it, even if you just knock into it slightly, you can feel how much weight is in it. And
Christ.
So what's happened is it's affected my job because my dad's a glassblower, my brother's a glassblower, my 2 uncles were, and my granddad was for a while after he retired because he was bored.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, how did you get into glassblowing, but obviously it's a family thing, right?
Yeah, he needed some extra work, I needed money, and I've been there ever since. And so basically what happened was one of my seizures took place in the job. I was at work, just working on the laptop, and had a seizure. So very early in the morning, and I usually have them very early in the morning, don't know why. And so my dad said he heard me scream, thought I'd hit something, thought I'd hurt myself, and I apparently had come outside while in the seizure, was walking around and hit into things, but I've never really done damage because in a place like that there's a lot of glass, and you know yourself, glass can just, even if you slightly nick off it, can cut you seriously bad. But I've never done it, and really, really lucky.
So you said apparently there. Do you not remember?
No, I don't remember for about 4 hours. I don't remember the entire thing. For about, what is it? About half an hour. It's been growing every time I've noticed this because I had to look back. I don't know who I am. Don't know where I am. For about half an hour, but it's been growing. Like every time, because my mum has a diary and she takes notes of what's happened for the doctor. And first it was a half hour, then it was 3/4. Now it's up to an hour, and
an hour where you don't know who you are.
Don't know who I am. Don't know where I am. And I don't know why. It's apparently a thing that happens because your brain is basically, one side of your brain isn't able to communicate with the other side of your brain, and they're kind of at odds, and that's where the spasming comes in. Like my type of epilepsy, grand mal, as I said, it's the stereotype. It's the stereotypical one. You writhe around, so my body contorts and everything, and it's like running, I've been told, 10 marathons.
Poof.
In the space of 1 to 3 minutes, because that's how long my seizures last. I have things where I have this special, it's not a syringe, it's basically you squeeze it into the inside of my mouth and you're supposed to rub there and it's supposed to calm me down, but only if a seizure's ever lasted 10 minutes, and it's never lasted longer than 10 minutes, though my mum will attest that it seems like forever.
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, it's crazy. I don't remember, there's been this one time, and it happened I think during my junior cert, where I was on a bike with a friend of mine, and I started screaming, and people said the reason was because my brakes weren't working, but my dad checked, bike was working fine, so they think that I had a seizure then and there. And if you've ever been to Malahide, where I'm from, and there's the primary school, St. Oliver Plunkett's, there's a massive dip down towards the tennis club, and we were on the bikes going down, and I think I had a seizure there, so I was screaming and I hit into a wall. Yeah, and because of that, the part of the bike went into my ear.
Oh my god!
Yes.
Oh my god!
I'm still pretty.
It wasn't exactly
it was
right.
really bad. It was really bad. I think it was one of the. See, now this is another thing. I lose words. My memory is not as great as it used to be. Like, I could name so many things. I was really great at remembering everything. But handlebars. The handlebar partially went into my ear.
Oh dear.
I had a bruised brain, which is basically
bruised brain.
Clouds.
From the seizure or from hitting into the wall?
I'd say it was the wall. Like, I mean, I'd say it's a combination of both. Clouds don't. You don't bruise your brain when you have a seizure, because.
That sounds pretty dangerous. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. I hit into the wall at such a speed where basically there were bruises in my brain. It's basically like clouds and that. And I had it for a while, and it was really bad. So they thought that possibly was caused by a seizure, but we still to this day don't know, and I will never know because I don't remember the entire day. The entire day, and I've never recovered my memory. So, my friend's the only one that remembers it, and it's really, it's an odd sensation forgetting who you are. It's kind of like, it's like temporary amnesia, because when I have a seizure, I have basically temporary amnesia.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you, what does that feel like? Like, when you don't know who you are, like, what do you know? Do you know anything? Or, like, what is it like?
It's like being a different person, and then slowly you start to come back to yourself. Like, I had a seizure there, what was this, 2 years ago, and basically maybe longer, because I am terrible with the way the time goes. I was walking to Cineworld, and I had a seizure right outside Cineworld. And when I came to, I remembered bits of things, but all I remember is being in the ambulance. My dad was there, a good friend of mine was there, and just having the gas mask on, the oxygen mask on, and just continue trying to take it off, because I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
It's kind of like fainting, in the sense that you don't remember having it. It's kind of like, it's also like falling asleep. It happens and then that's it. So I kind of feel like I know what it's like to lose your memory, because it feels like you're not the same person, because I don't know who my parents are, and that freaks them out a lot. So it's really messed up, and it's just because I had to remind myself of all this, because I realized I didn't actually know that much about my own epilepsy, because my parents are just razor sharp. Like I think my mom would freak out if I ever tried to start driving. Like I think
She's on the ball.
She's like, don't you ever try to drive. My dad goes, he can learn. I mean, he can learn, because you never know what kind of situation you'd be in.
Yeah.
And I've learned bits, but like my sister's better at driving at this point now. She's like 17.
You mentioned a tablet before we were talking.
Yeah, I have several tablets. Epilum, Chrono, and that's basically 4 tablets of varying sizes.
I thought you meant like an iPad.
Oh,
when you said tablet.
I have an iPad. I mean, we're not sponsored. No, we're not sponsored here. No, I have multiple tablets. Like I have Epilum, which I've had since I was 13. This is the tablet that's been prescribed to me since I was 13. It has not changed, and the only reason it has slightly changed is because of the amount that I'm taking now. I'm taking 1,600 grams or milligrams, because 1,600 grams is ridiculous. 1,600 milligrams of it, and it's basically 4 tablets. 2 of them are 500, and then 2 of them are 300.
So if you had seizures before you took tablets, and then you took tablets, and you're still having seizures, what are the tablets doing?
Exactly. That's kind of the question my dad always asks. He goes, are they actually doing anything? Because it's now started, and this is where I get to kind of the later points of my life with the seizures. They're now happening almost regularly.
Yeah.
I have a seizure at least once a year. And the last seizure, I'll get to that because that'll be kind of funny. Maybe scary, but we'll go with funny first.
Okay.
I had 2 seizures in the one day 2 years ago.
Oof.
Yeah. And the reason, like, it's weird now because my parents kind of seem to think they can tell when I've had a full seizure now. They can tell that, okay, he's okay, or he's still very pale. He's possibly going to have another one. So I'm pretty much out lying down for a day. Like I've had 2 seizures where it was really sad. I was the lead in a play. I learned all my lines.
Oh no!
I had everything done day before the play.
And you couldn't be in it then?
I couldn't be in it, and I was so excited. And
oh my god, that is. Does stress bring it on?
Mine does. Stress and lack of sleep. Mainly lack of sleep.
So it could have been you were
I'd
nervous
so.
or
I'd say
whatever.
so.
Even though you were excited. Yeah.
But that's another thing.
Shithouse.
When I get the seizures seem to do something, and my mom's always attested this. I shake, and when you were kids, you kind of shake and you get excited. When you get excited, you go. Ugh. Yeah. I've always had that, and it's only started to realize and doctors and that realize that maybe that's a sign that I was always kind of ready for seizures, that seizures were kind of in my future.
So you'd shake when you were excited, is it?
Yeah, when it's hard to do it now because it's you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
But you kind of go like this, so you maybe move your legs slightly.
You're always kind of moving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I now have those semi-regularly during the week, during the day.
Tremors kind of.
Yeah, pretty much. Like basically I'd feel a tingle up my spine, and then it would go through my hands, and then I would have to do this and calm myself down. And it happens every now and then where my hands just don't do that, and I just have to tense it down. I mean, it's nothing. It's kind of maybe it could be an after effect of the tablets. Because I've been taking the Epilum since I was 13, so that's 14 years. So that's 16 years. Yeah. And I don't think I'm supposed to have been taking them this long. So because
surely they would have taken you off it though.
They've tried to take me off it, but what's happened is, and this is my fault, is they say, "All right, Graham, it's been a couple of years. Let's wean them down." I just stop. And that is all my fault.
And then you have a seizure.
Relapse, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was the cause of one of my seizures during the junior cert, I think.
Oh, what a time to have one.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's, you know what it's like when you're in secondary school. You freak out.
Jesus,
you freak
yeah.
out, especially for things that don't really, ultimately don't really matter, because there are other avenues that you can go down. There are other ways you can do things. Which brings me now to last year, where I had a seizure right after Halloween.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's almost a year.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of scary. It's kind of scary.
As in, you're afraid you're
I'm afraid,
due another
I'm
one?
always a bit afraid. Like, okay, it's coming up to the year. Is there a possibility? And my pass, because again, the reason was I'm not really supposed to drink.
Right.
Like heavy drinking, but I'm not really into that anyway, so I don't, they say don't do drugs and all that, so that's grand. I was never really into that anyway. And so was out with some friends during Halloween, but my mind was elsewhere. I'd had a big fight with a bunch of friends, and it had been on my mind, and I couldn't get it out of my mind. So all the night I was having fun, laughing, and all that.
It's still there, yeah.
It's still there. I got back home, and girlfriend went to sleep. I couldn't sleep, and then fell asleep for about an hour. Woke up, until about 7, and we'd gotten home at 1, and so finally fell asleep at 7. And then when I woke up, my dad was sitting beside me, and I was like, "What's wrong?" And he goes, "You had a seizure. Do you not remember?" I go, "No. Do you remember last night?" What about last night? I didn't remember the entire party. It's gone back that far. Usually it's only an hour or two, maybe a bit more. But I hadn't remembered. I didn't even know it was Halloween.
Oh dear.
The whole night had completely disappeared.
And is this immediately, or is this like, did that come back to you? The party
Oh yeah,
come
the
back
party
to you?
came back. The party came back. So I was thinking about it today on my way here. I was like, okay, what do I remember of the party? I actually remember pretty much all the party.
Took a few hours though for the memory.
It took ages, and the thing is, it always gets, when I'm done with the seizure, and this happens every seizure, and I don't know why. It might be because of the exhaustion. I cry for like maybe a second, and it's really weird. I don't know why it happens, but I think it might be just the relief.
It's probably the relief
of the body, because I've never done a marathon, but I suppose anyone who has, you probably just kind of just.
Yeah.
So much adrenaline in that.
Oh, you definitely, yeah. Like, well, I know it's not the same, but I did a half marathon once and I was dead by the end of it. I was definitely wanted to cry. I was definitely tearing up. Yeah, your body just sort of reacts.
Which I kind of feel like that's probably the adrenaline and everything just being drained out of me.
Can I ask a few stupid questions? Possibly stupid questions.
I love stupid questions.
If you don't remember the seizure, do you know what a seizure is like?
I have had to watch, and surprisingly enough, I've seen seizures happen around Dublin. I've seen them happen like on streets and everything, and I feel oddly kind of not pressure is a horrible word for it, but that I should help because I've been told what to do. You turn the person over, you make sure you're not holding them down, because then they could like do serious damage to themselves or to you. You make sure that there's nothing in their mouths, because I have seriously hurt my tongue. Like, because you bite down.
Oh.
Yeah. And I've always bit my tongue. It's the worst part. It's the worst part.
I'd say it kills you then when you're finally back to yourself and you've a sore tongue.
Is it like this for a little while?
Oh no.
Just for a little while. But like, it's the worst part is looking in the mirror and seeing what I've done to myself.
Yeah. Because like, I would have... Anytime, say, when you get your mouth numbed at the dentist and you accidentally bite your tongue, and it wouldn't be on a fraction of a scale of what you're doing to yourself, but I can sort of imagine a fraction of how sore it must be.
It's awful. Like, it just feels weird, because it's been long enough that you don't feel pain anymore, because it's been like 4 or 5 hours of trying to remember what happened, so the pain is not as bad. But it's really weird. And so like you were saying, if there's ever anyone having a seizure, I get to see it, because I never get to see me. My parents have never recorded, but that's, I suppose the reason is because they're just in, stress mode, just trying to make sure, one, I don't hit into anything. And we, one time I had a seizure, we had a gym at one point in the house.
In the house?
In the house. We had just a small little, basically
awesome.
my brother, it was just put together because my brother was doing taekwondo and that, and so we had some stuff just in this small little room, but it was also the room that we had the laptop the PC at the time.
Oh dear.
So I was watching anime, I think Naruto or something, so you can tell how long ago this was, and I had a seizure. And so I was having a seizure while there was all these dumbbells and machines and everything, and the things that you what are they called? The back,
the bar across.
Yeah.
The barbell.
Yeah.
Is it barbell?
And so I was just there, falling all over the place.
That's pretty dangerous.
And I think I hit my head on one of the things. Again, it's weird that when someone says, "Can you talk about epilepsy?" You're not the one. I'm not the one that should be talking about it technically, because I'm not the one who sees it.
You're being told what you did in a seizure, right?
But
I wonder, are you present during the seizure but you just forget then? I wonder, is that a blessing, or I wonder, are you totally out of it during the seizure?
Well, there are types of seizures where you are aware.
Okay.
My type of seizure is not that.
Okay.
It's of all seizures that you can have, because there are people that have seizures can have them every 10 minutes.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah.
And it's ruined their lives. They can't have proper lives unless they have the right medicine at the right time. I'm very lucky. This type of seizure I've had, and the luck that I have had, I've never done serious damage to myself. But it's gotten really ridiculous with the kind of stuff that I have to make sure that I'm very aware of. I can't stay up too late. My parents always say go to bed at 11 or something, because their worst nightmare was when I moved out with my girlfriend. That was
going to be my next question.
I moved out. I'm living in Swords, and my parents are living in Malahide, so they can still get to me 10 to 15 minutes, but my mom didn't freak out. It might have helped that my brother was moving out the same week.
Yeah, I'd
so
say it's tough for her though. I'd say it's tough for her because she's worried about you.
Yeah, Irish mummies are.
Yeah. So then, what does your girlfriend? How does it affect your girlfriend's life?
Not that much. The thing is, I have to make sure I take the tablets. I take the tablets once in the morning, and that's 1600 of the Epilim Chrono, and the new tablets that I started taking a year ago, the Keppra, which are the new tablets. They're supposed to be better. Don't know, because that's the thing. How do you know it's working? What if it's just your life? Your lifestyle's just gotten better in that, or is it tablets? But then, I've been having tablets regularly now. I've been having seizures regularly in the last 3-4 years. That's gone to the point where I'm kind of wondering, are the tablets actually doing anything, or is it just now that my seizure takes place every year? Maybe every 2 years, and then that's it, because there's no real way, and the doctors keep saying that there's no real way to tell if they're properly working
unless they cold turkey took you off them, and then you could
I had a seizure, which has happened, but that was years ago, and doctors always remind me the Epilim tablets that I take, they're for younger people, but I've had them my whole life, that they're afraid kind of taking me off them now. And I don't like taking the tablets because I think they have affected some parts of me. They've affected my mind. I slur words every now and then. My memory's not as good as it was. I'm a big guy, but I've put on weight, and it's very difficult for me to lose weight. And so I don't like the tablets, but I completely understand why they need to exist. It's just there's so many things that have been happening with and I don't help the fact of the seizures because I live a fairly stressful life. I do reviews of games, I do reviews of films, I have to go to screenings in the morning, I work with my dad four days a week, and then even when I'm not doing that, I'm reviewing games.
So you're pretty busy, you're flat out.
I'm very busy, and one of the things is that they said, do not be stressed.
Yeah, you should be relaxed, you should be taking your your free time
Yeah.
to relax, but you're taking it to like do more work.
Yeah,
Which
like-
is what I do as
yeah,
well.
exactly. Like, you
but
understand, like-
so I can totally get how
It's
you
the-
can do that, but
Yeah.
yeah, I can also see why your doctors might have an issue
Yeah,
with it.
like you see, even when you want to calm down, relax, and that, like, you know it yourself, you're a YouTuber, and that you don't want to be too out of the loop for too long. Otherwise, you don't
Yeah.
know what opportunities you might miss. You don't know what kind of audiences you might be missing. You don't know what kind of stories you might not be able to tell.
Yeah.
So I am of that same mindset, and it worries me when I relax for too long, and that's very much the reason why I'd say maybe I've brought on some seizures because I don't know when to calm down.
Maybe. Especially if stress brings yours on, but like.
Yeah. But it's the sleep, I suppose, because I know one
the
time,
sleep, yes.
I stayed awake all night.
You wish?
I stayed awake all night once with friends when I was like 14.
And did you have a seizure after?
Yeah.
Jeez.
No, I went to sleep for like 2 hours.
I can
Yeah.
see, like, that's.
When you're teenagers, you do
it's
that.
something that you do when you're a teenager. Like, I used to stay up all night all the time, and then
Yeah.
you'd be wrecked the next day. But how, like, that's, I can see how frustrating that must be. Like, you can't, not that I ever want to stay up all night.
Not
but, like,
anymore.
you couldn't do a 24-hour live stream if you wanted to, could you?
Oh God, no. Like I'd come in for like 2 hours and then maybe just go to sleep. Like I can't. Like I go out. I don't stay out that late. Like you have the 1 or 2 weekends where you might stay out.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like, but that's it. I don't do it. But to be fair, my lifestyle, I never really wanted to. I'm very introverted.
Yeah, I
What?
actually love staying in as well.
I love staying in, and I love I love films and that.
Yeah.
So
Yes, and that's something I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned that like your first seizure was brought on by a video game, but you're still like an avid gamer
I'm
and
a
you
huge
review
gamer.
games and you also watch films, and like would there be films that could
Oh, bring on
set
seizure.
you off, or like I don't know, I'm trying to think if I ever been to the
Flashing lights.
cinema where they've been like I've seen TV shows where it's like, warning, this show contains flashing images. I don't think I've ever seen it in
No, because
films.
they can't do it with films. It seems like they can't say it with films, because I know there are films that have done it. I mean, people
I
have
feel
had
like there's
seizures from.
definitely films with flashing lights in them.
People said Avatar can do it to some people.
What?
Yeah, but it's fully, it's all CGI pretty much.
yeah,
Like the
okay.
glasses. But I've never had that. But I am slowly, like as I'm getting older, I'm becoming more and more aware of, okay, it's flashing lights. My seizure doesn't do that. My seizure isn't that type of seizure where flashing lights will cause me to have one.
Okay.
But I'm still aware, it's like, I should not be looking at this for too long.
Yeah. So how do you work around it with your gaming setup?
It's actually not that bad. I have to make sure it's always bright.
Okay.
It is
so no more
always
gaming in the
bright.
dark, okay?
No, I haven't gamed in the dark. And I don't know why I used to do that. I think it's because it was like all this light and this is...
It's a real stereotype of gamers, though. It's just
It
the
really
really
is.
dark room.
Like, I think the reason was because I wanted to be fully immersed.
Yeah.
And if there's nothing around me, like if it's complete darkness and then there's just this game, it's like, I'm completely in this game. It's like a film.
I can
it's
see
like
that,
you know when you see films.
Yeah, I would turn off the lights for a film big time. Yeah, I totally get you, actually, yeah. But you're not allowed to do that anymore.
No, I haven't done it since I was 11. I haven't turned off lights because that's the one thing I've stuck to from the seizures is just don't turn off lights. You can watch films in the dark, fine, but video games, especially. Do you remember the Bugs Life game?
No, I never
It's
touched
so
that one.
bright.
Is it?
It's so bright. And it's just like, that's the start of it. And the funny thing is, my brother has had seizures. He had 2, and it was in the space of the same day, but not epileptic. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and my friend's brother, he's had seizures and that, and I think...
So you can have a seizure and not be epileptic?
Oh no, you can totally have a seizure. You can totally have a seizure.
I didn't know that.
It's just what happens afterwards. What happens to your body afterwards? Like anyone can have a seizure. Which is kind of worrying. I think it's the point of it is that you're pushing your body to its limit.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're doing things that are maybe just like completely exhausting you.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe it's like your body, your physical body, and then your mind kind of just give out, just give up. That's kind of what happens.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not been really great for me because I feel like I've lost some opportunities that because of the seizures. that I can't really do. I don't know if I can, like, I loved to act. Like, I didn't do it enough when I was younger, but as I was getting to like, my late teens, I was really enjoying it.
Yeah, and you totally could have done it in college.
Totally could have done it in
yeah.
college and that, but this was after college. And when it happened the first time, this happened, I believe, this happened twice. I was in a play, couldn't do it because of the seizure, and then I was the lead, had another seizure, and it was like a year. It was a year between.
God, that's very frustrating.
I had seizures a month between as well, which was really weird. As like I think I've had, if I'm going to count, I think I've had maybe 10, possibly less than 10, but they've been spread apart enough that
Yeah.
that they've impacted me and left a mark on me.
Yeah, so you're getting a bit nervous now then, are you? Because it's been
A little
coming
bit.
up to a year.
It's coming up to a year. Like, what are we now? It's September, so it's I have a month.
I
not gonna happen.
have another stupid question.
Yeah.
If you had a seizure and nobody was around to see it, would
Will I
you
make a
know you'd
sound?
had one? Yeah, I was like, as I was saying, I was like, it sounds like that fucking tree question, doesn't it? If you cut down a tree in the woods.
Yeah, I'd say so. I would. The reason being is because I always bite my tongue.
Oh yes, you mentioned that earlier, so you would
Always
actually
bite my
you
tongue.
would know. Oh, right,
Also,
okay.
I think
So that's
it
happened
does
every
come-
time?
It happens every time.
Every time, okay.
To be fair, the thing about that is, it would come back to me. It's never happened that I've never not remembered. It's just that one time with the bike, and I think that was because my brain took a serious beating.
So normally would you actually remember the seizure happening, or at least remember the run up to it?
I'd remember the
or-
run up to it.
Okay.
I'd remember dropping, but that's as far as I get. And the funny thing is,
Which is probably a good thing.
Yeah. A fun thing about, an interesting thing about that is, you're supposed to get an aura around yourself, where basically like a taste or a smell or something. I never get that. I have no idea when, because for some reason some people say right before it happens, a person gets an aura about themselves that dogs can notice.
Oh, and that's why they say that dogs know when you're about to have a seizure.
Yeah. So it's always good to have dogs around.
So by this aura, you mean like
A smell, like the dogs will, like, kind of calling danger. Dogs will be able to know. Dogs will be able to notice
okay.
it. And then, as the person who's having the seizure, this aura, as they call it, I thought it was a weird name. I'll either smell something, taste something that's not normal.
Oh,
like some people
okay.
say toast, which is
wow.
a weird one.
But like, I think there's a cliche of like a metal taste in your mouth.
Yeah,
That's
that's
some
another one.
Things, yeah. Okay, I get you now. I get you, yeah.
I never get that, or I don't remember getting it, because it's only happened maybe half the time that people are around me when it happens. Or what weirdly happens is, I'm cognizant enough that I get up. Like when I had the seizure in the office, I got up out of the chair, came outside, and it's
To
a
get
good
away
distance.
from the glass, yeah.
What? No, because the office, there's no glass.
Oh.
I came outside to find my dad.
Oh.
Like my dad said that when he saw me, I was coming towards him, but I was,
Mid-seizure.
he could see that I was walking weird and that something was wrong. And sure, my girlfriend last year, it was the first seizure she ever saw. Like, and I've been with her 8 years now.
8 years, well done.
Yeah, but every time it's been at home, or it's been the office. It's been at my parents, or it's been in the office, or that one time in Cineworld. Like I was I was on, the steps leading up into Cineworld.
In Parnell Street, yeah.
That's where I had it. Like
Oh,
right
the
there.
outdoor steps. Jesus Christ, you could have really hurt yourself there.
I think I dodged a bullet there because there's escalators.
Oh, actually, yeah, Jesus. So, random question. What film were you going to see?
San Andreas. I was going to be reviewing San Andreas with The Rock.
Oh, you're going to be reviewing it. What do you
Yeah.
mean with the as in he's
Oh,
in
no,
it?
he's not.
He wasn't there.
No.
But you were going
Great
to be
though.
reviewing. That would have been cool. But you were going to be reviewing it, so yeah, it has affected your work. Then.
It affects my work. It affects my work all the time. Like my dad has come up with the whole thing of, as the years go on that I'm with them, I am to stay in the office, writing stuff down, doing all the paperwork and that.
Maybe not being
and
so
doing it-
hands-on with the glass.
Yeah, I mean, I still can, but like my dad's when I had a seizure one time at home, and we worked at home at one point. Like my dad brought work home so that my brother and I didn't have to go into the office with him. And what would happen was he set up a burner, which would, if I had a seizure, would turn itself off.
Well, that's That's very clever.
because you know when you click on a burner, if you've ever seen one, you click it on and then
No.
No?
I know nothing about that. Sorry, you're going to have to handhold me a bit here.
it's basically, okay, so you imagine this long cylindrical item and then there's a flame spouts out from the top of it.
Okay.
And basically you click it in with this metal part and then flame goes, all the oxygen and all the oxygen and the hydrogen go through. You light it with a lighter and then the fire's there.
Okay.
The point is, if I had this on when I have a seizure and I drop, the burner is
Drops.
still on.
Oh, Jesus
And
Christ,
could
set something on fire.
Set me on fire, possibly.
Yeah.
So what my dad did was, and this is very clever of him.
Ingenious.
Yeah, it's basically I'd have to hold it
Constantly. So the minute you let go, it would turn off.
Turns off.
Jeez, that's very clever. That's ingenious.
Very clever, because that possibly saved my life once or twice.
Because you were working with it
Yep.
at home and had a seizure.
Yep. It's like there's so many times that I've never seriously damaged myself with a seizure, and
But you definitely could have if your dad hadn't created that
like
thing.
you know how busy Parnell Street is.
Yeah.
Like,
Actually,
you know that
yeah.
road. You know,
But also,
that road.
those concrete steps, like, so the cinema that we're talking about has just steps outside the front, and they're
Like, they're
pretty
two
hard
pretty hefty,
concrete.
yeah, they're big.
Pretty hefty steps, yeah. Yeah, you could definitely do yourself some serious
But
damage.
I've never done anything. I've never done anything majorly seriously. Like nothing I can't walk away from. Like I said, the ear thing was pretty bad. Like my ear was messed up for a while.
Yeah.
Couldn't see out of one eye for a little while.
Oh,
Like I crashing into a wall. So, you know.
at least it came back.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But it's just it's kind of crazy just to think about all the stuff that it's done. Like the tablets are the big ones that I always kind of, because I have to be aware. I have to take them every morning. I take them in the evening. If I forget, I really shouldn't forget. But if I do forget, make sure that I take them straight away. Try to make sure that I don't overlap tablets. That if I'm having tablets, if I have tablets in the evening and I forget them, do not take them in the morning with the morning tablets, because then obviously that's technically overdosing.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
But then it's just like underdosing is okay, which is I suppose. But again, I don't do that because I can't.
Yeah, you don't want to bring it on or like try and so remind people where they can find you on the internet in case they want to talk to you more about this or about anything or follow you just in general.
Yeah. It'd be great if I got like loads of people just talking about epilepsy. Graham, these are the things you actually need to know. You don't know a lot. It's fine. I'm at Graham Geek Era on Twitter.
And that's EIRE.
Yeah, EIRE because Irish again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because someone told me Irish.
So Graham Geek Era, EIRE is how you spell Era.
And then Scanon.com has got like all my reviews at the moment, because I'm over there right now reviewing tons of films with them. And then I'm at Game Air, which is GAMEIR
On Twitter.
on Twitter as
Yeah.
well, if you want to follow my game thing. It was very funny because I was at MCM a couple of weeks ago and an American guy did not hear that properly. So, what did you call? What did you say? Gayer? It's like, no, Game Air. It's like,
Oh, that's funny. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
no problem. It helped me talk about some things that I don't actually talk about
Yeah, that's
because I
awesome.
don't say to anyone.
And I didn't realise you didn't drive, so sorry for asking you to come all the way out to the sticks because you would have had to get a
It was
bus.
actually quite nice. It was quite relaxing. Like going through town and then just getting the and just, that's actually quite nice. I was just plugging for a podcast and he's like, I liked that.
Yeah, it's very.
That's the sad part about not being able to drive. I can't have road trips because you know I suppose I can when someone else is driving, but I like the relaxing kind of like just traveling. I mean that's kind of something that it's just as I've gotten
I will
older.
say I love taking the train because I get so much more work done when I'm actually driving. All I can do is listen to stuff. I can't get any work done. So I do like the train for that, but I also really enjoy I am addicted to my car. Like I do rely on it to go everywhere rather than rely on public transport.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I do apologise because this is fairly out. So
It was
it's
grand.
long enough
It's a nice Saturday. It's different.
Yeah.
It's different than just sitting around just because I'm playing the Dragon Ball Fighters beta right now, like right this weekend, just proving again that I should really calm down on video games because that is also a bright game, but it's the middle of the day when they're having their stuff going on, so it's grand.
Cool. Thank thank you so much for coming.
No problem.
And follow. You've said all
I have.
your links. I'm also going to put them down in the YouTube description box and in the show notes on SoundCloud. We put up the Storytime Podcast puts up new episodes every week. Check out our Patreon if you get a chance. Links down in the description. And yeah, see you next week.
Thanks very much, Claire.
No worries. Thank you.